welcome back to the lovely 5D collective of the IHP community. There are many individuals out there, mystics, I'm a mystic, and the self help coaches and consultants and content creators. So let's remember, please, that the different collectives tune in to the different voices. This one is all about the forgiveness. I got to learn about forgiveness from Jesus Christ consciousness, and I uphold that promise and the Holy Spirit and things that are not obviously welcome, by the way, by all. So we do remember to try and be respectful because at the end of the day, my state of consciousness, Maria, your host, is intellectually open minded. Why? Because I have integration of the brain. I have a whole self. My whole self is my 1 year old. That's securely attached. We talked about some of this yesterday. So I am here with that inspiring human potential, but I'm a mystic. So woo-woo spiritual, but it's not woo-woo for my 5D collective. So those of you who resonate with channeled guidance messages and with anything, tarot, Akashic record readings, what else? Reiki. I'm Reiki master. I don't use the typical technical verbiage. I never acquired it for my online marketing clients. I don't acquire it for my coaching stuff because I treat you like a person, and that's why I use stuff. I like to use what is considered not eloquent, trying to not dumb it down. I'm trying to make it accessible to the ones who care to be accessible to their self, because this is the one thing about facades you'll notice is that they all dress in specific ways. And I'll go back to my teenage years because you see, when you meet people who are facades, they are black and white thinkers. They're all or nothing. So I have this thing called bunch of pet peeves. I don't like liars. I don't like hypocrites. And I meet them consistently when I'm with facades. And then I learned from attachment trauma informed individuals how most people don't go heal their trauma. So that's why, am I right in the fact that I will find a person who's a facade, their fake sense of self, because their 0 to 8 is not being tended to by the person who owns the body? Yeah. So this is my equation. I'm intellectually and emotionally mature and mastered, and that physical stuff as well. And with Jesus and God, that's all I needed. Then I got into being a mystic. No, I got clairs and I expanded, and I knew already that I was not anointed, and that the 4D, as they kept moving forward, I'm like, you're off here, you're off there, you're insulting people now. Now you're using Lucifer. Now you're calling people energy vampires. You are really not 5D at all. I don't even think you know what it is. So when I meet facades, I'll consistently see the mantles of Elsa, and that means it's a human being who doesn't have their inner child in the forefront. So they're a liar, liar, pants on fire. To me, they're also insecurely attached, and they will perpetuate, in fact, their narrative from their low self-esteem, indirect communication, passive aggressive, which we will find that they engage with. Okay, so this is a little review for anybody who's new. So you do self-help when you're ready to do thoughts and emotions like a lion and a freely running around horse. These are the very most amazing of cards, and when you meet masculines and feminines, you have both, but the feminine will know who she is, and I love being a feminine because a feminine gets to transmute through the heart first, and then the mind comes on. That's why they tell us we're stupid. The ones of us who trust are feminine, you see. It's also why we call the ones who don't trust their feminine stupid. You see the two sides of the coin? I learned how to be respectful because God taught me to be humble, and then I realized that my intellect and emotional mastery was already on point with any one of those teenagers that I met. I didn't learn anything new as I got older. I just matured. Okay, so this is what it's called to be a person who's self-empowered and enlightened. You don't back down from speaking with what is called, by the way, equanimity. The people who don't know the difference, yes, they're not the ones that are going to resonate with 5D, forgiveness, collective, and your host right here. You don't have to be here, and obviously if you are, though, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. I love to present what empowerment looks like for real, not pretend, and how we don't back down in shame because someone might come around and think that it's grandiosity. The ones who are facades, once again, they fall for that. They will emulate those who are armored in their shame button because they look good. They don't hear their words. If somebody speaks lack of imagination for evil and you buy into that, well, you bought into lack of imagination for evil. You see, intellect, nowhere to be found. Emotional preference or not, evil black or white thinkers, they like to use those words good and bad to equate what is good and what is bad, but it's not just the words. They have a heart that says, I'm going to cast a stone. Again, I follow Jesus God. I don't cast a stone, I'm humble. The heart stays open as a feminine, and when you get belittled, ridiculed, talked down to, even before you are mystic, for me, I didn't even notice it, because once I got old enough, I said, hey, God, I didn't see that devil evil shit. That I didn't use curse words. I just said, I didn't see this monster. I did see, so evil to me is every single human being who's a facade, you see, because I did have adolescents that taught me exactly how unreliable they all are. To this day, if I meet a facade, they're unreliable because they don't rule their prefrontal cortex. They will act like a facade. I'll watch them walk a walk, and then they won't walk that walk with a talk. So I like to walk a walk and talk a talk. It's not called perfection. It's called anyone who does self-help doesn't want laundry in their body. The Zen master is another facade to a person like me because he doesn't know how to use his prefrontal cortex to process emotions. And he's supposed to be an expert in mindfulness and mindset. He's a Zen, Z-E-N. I thought that meant ease inside. So when he's pulling his word out of his mouth and saying emotions are laundry, I think of my good therapists who tell me about how people who don't have yet their whole self and they're not creating resiliency, they don't have a window welcome to the emotional depth of them. They're still using ways to distance themselves, and that's called deflecting it. So there's another insecurely attached 1-year-old. They don't have to have insecure attachment, but they don't know how to reassure their 1-year-old with their secondary human consciousness. So I know how to reassure myself. Again, I had a relationship, no, I still do, with God and Jesus. So I just expanded how I use the word. So again, welcome aboard, anyone who's new. We like to try and just remember not all states of consciousness want to move into expanding consciousness. Okay, so I love expanding. And they're both freely lovers and also truly empowered lovers. And that's for my polyamory community. Come on in. So when you have an empowered man, yes, they won't be worried about sharing, and you won't be worried about sharing, because love is not something that goes up or down. The reality is our bond will strengthen as we intellectually and emotionally tickle our fancy and have a good time. And that's why the 144 number keeps coming up for these twin flame first round, second round, third round. Yesterday I did late HP shows. We'll talk more about that later, but I just found it really humorous. And then I said, remember, Maria, there's different collectives. So the collective of HP, tapping into your infinite higher human conscious potential experience by being yourself with flaws and integrity and imperfections and unconditional love. So the channeled guidance messages that came through. There's a couple and more. I'm going to try and just read through it, so my eyes will go to my phone, and then we'll be back with some more episodes. So for those of you who resonated with, you like to be empowered, you're okay with facades because it's not our job to be their therapist. It's their job if they want. They don't have to. Will to heal. They go and get that emotional body online. They then have a lot of days and more years with therapists, and they continue their journey until they're ready to forgive their home. Then they will want to join us because we're all about compassion and forgiveness. Till that moment, they will be a bit like Patrick Tiahan. He's a childhood trauma survivor, healed and healing, good therapist. And he shares, you don't have to forgive anyone. I hear all about forgiveness. Nobody needs to forgive. He shares that because his community are all people who are going to be looking to heal. So he knows that before they will maybe forgive, they will have a journey. Okay, so the journey to healing your childhood wounds is not projecting it, but some people, that's what they're going to do instead. And so that's our 3D, 4D, and all the facades that we will continue to tease and make fun of with fancy suits. And so we all look good. No, not really, but we all look the same. And what's going to change for us is that we know the difference in here and here and here, because you learn how to be a true mindful listener, and you already will have been if you listen to yourself and you're feminine and you don't ignore your gut or your heart, but it loves, not picking on people because they're different. So you put your implicit bias, explicit to the side. You don't go around yelling at people because they use words you don't like, because they vote for people you don't like. You don't cancel people. You don't insult them, their intellect. You're not a facade of a person. A facade, again, is a person who's carrying that charge and they're just projecting it left and right. They can look as fancy as they can be. You're not walking the walk or talking the talk. You're more like the friend that called me a hypocrite as I had finished telling him why he was one, and he's the same facade that he was way back when. So when we meet buffoons, they are fun, like Cusco. They're not emotionally, mentally, or physically on the enlightenment vibe scale like the Zen master because they didn't tend to learn to tune into the feelings, to be in the depth of themselves. They learned how to be a buffoon, which is called deflecting. It's, again, insecure attachment is not a race. It's an active, I'm not mindfully listening, I'm just using my mouth to use words. So you can use your mouth and regurgitate, but as long as there's no depth, person like me and anybody else who is empowered is going to notice that in time. And that's because, one, we hear you, we walk with you. And like Pacha allows Cusco to lie, we will do the same because that's what an unconsciously loving heart does. I'm not here to tell you what state of consciousness to be or who to be. You're already behaving as long as you follow the laws. So once again, we don't silence people. We are not Diego's family. When you meet facades, you'll notice that they're kind of like Diego's family. They're just hypocrites about it. Okay, so again, I use the word hypocrite to mean that you don't know your whole self, and I get to deal with the sense of self that is not really you, but it's not that you're a hypocrite. Like my friend said, no, I'm not. I do life the way I want to. You're the hypocrite because you say A, B, C, D, F, G, bringing science and spirituality together is ridiculous, you ignorant, moronic idiot. Or Lucifer, what? My friend doesn't do that, but that's the capacity of a person that can think shit like that. So you all heard about how I don't talk about mysticism with my friend anymore because he completely disregarded telling me every time I shared and poured out my soul and heart to him that he doesn't believe in any of it. And because I had already dealt with his facade before, I was not disappointed this time. I knew already about it. I had talked to him about it. I thought he heard me, and today I can explain to why people don't hear us. Stephen Porges, as he shares what a biologically root person is. It's not their choice. They're in their Robert Sapolsky. They're determined. They have a 0 8-year-old. They didn't take their unconscious subconscious and become the grown-up. They're their fight response, in fact. Like my teacher Sue Martin shared with me, the charge state of the 16-year-old. They're always doing this. They know everything about anything and everyone. And so when you meet it, just let them put on the facade that they will tell you all about. They'll tell you who you are, what you are, how you think. They won't allow differentiation at all. And it'll be a fun ride because you get to have fun. And you still compliment each other. So my lovely friend, he's a masculine. So we always would compliment each other and have a good time. We still do. Okay, back to Storyland. No, messages. That was story. To give you the gist of how it works and how passionate and amazing all relationships, facades or not, we have a good time. Okay, so for my lovely 5D collective here at IHP, what we have as our 5D ascension energies continue to be around us is a number of you blossoming into the beautiful, balanced, masculine and feminine that you are as you lead life with being yourself. This means you are being and doing with your whole self, seen, soothed, safe, and secure to be yourself with flaws, imperfections, integrity, and unconditional love. That's important. Soothed, seen, it means you know how to self-regulate. You're your own safe haven like I am, and you're your own secure base. This is the one difference with the solo poly secure community. We know how to regulate ourselves, and then we mix and match those different partners because some are going to be safe haven, some safe haven and secure base, others just secure base, and really you're not going to get poly saturated because you won't maintain depth of connection with more than tops 3 people. Not even. I mean, really, you got 24 hours. So I'm going to say about 2. And when people don't know what polyamory is, it's not polygamy. Polygamy is part of the polyamory group. Polyamory, we're asexual, gray asexual. We're people who love more than one person in more than a friendship way. Sometimes it's platonic, sometimes it's not. So whenever you meet someone, if you are a person who wants to get curious, you just ask if you want. They might not want to share because it's private. But if you would mind not calling us unfaithful. See, we're consensual non-monogamists. That's the difference. And just the fact that some people, monoamory, monogamy people, don't like us, it's okay. You don't have to like me. But don't, forget polyamory. It's consensually loving more than one person. I just like to tease every now and then because I find it humorous that people just don't know how to say, wow, I'm not into that. And some people instead they do. And it's like, good. And some people say, I'm not into that, but I'm curious about it. So that's how it works when you have empowered human beings around you. I love meeting all of them, though. See, we got facades. One of them said, polyamory, they're all masochists. And I said to them, it's a man. I said, not the ones of us with healthy self-worth. And as I'm speaking and finishing, he says, but that's hard to do. And I say, well, you're happy about your life, right? You told me that you chose your job based on your parents. You let them choose the good career for you. You're happy. Aren't you living a happy life? Because I wasn't about to say, so you have no healthy self worth. Because as soon as he said that's hard, I'm like, okay, we got a person who's a facade, could use a therapist, doesn't want to, living a life. Yeah, they are, like my friend again. So that's why on the external, you're like, they're living a life. Yes, inside, they could be a lot more emotional, but they don't have to. This is the part of why mindfulness living and loving, you don't have to. You don't have to deepen your relationship with the essence of you and life and all that. Okay, so, anyways, what I was trying to get to. So, thanks to you welcoming all of you, okay, your whole self. You're not a facade. You enjoy people and differences, and you laugh like I do at people who, just any of them, really. It's Cusco. Just ever since I was a teenager, I began to become more of a pacha without even knowing it. And today I'm embodying completely this lovely enlightenment. By the way, so age group and vibe is really fun. So the Zen master could learn it. But, anyways, so you will feel the freedom of being able to be generous of spirit and heart. This is beautiful, like a lion, like Simba's father, not the scar. No, no envy, no jealousy, no spite. In fact, when people don't understand it, we're like, look, you're not a match for me. You don't want to share. I have one person that I had to say, I already know you, and you know me. And we didn't match back then when you did come at me, and now we still don't match. And well, the sad story is he's not a person who shares, but he is the most cute human being that I will have ever met in this lifetime. And he is the one person who did something so romantic, and that was with innocence. And in fact, I have the image in my head. I won't tell it to you all, but I'll never forget when you know who your oversoul is, you will be just fantasticized at all, at all. All I can tell you is, wow, it's amazing when you already know things as a child that then come to be in a grown-up way, and you can't make this shit up. It's amazing. So, anyways, generous of heart means that, again, you have empowerment. You don't have to be polyamory. Believe me, I'm not trying to force anyone, just in case this gets confused. I'm understanding that some people, they only love the one person, and that's great because when you have that, you will have found the perfect match and they will stick around. So that's awesome. I'm a mystic. I have twin flames and soulmates. I'm not gonna, I don't shut my channeling off, you see. So it's something that we'll get into in another episode. But also, the freedom is yours. So, being able to speak with other and speak your truth, being able to be intimate and vulnerable as you, being able to be playful without expectations, being able to love as a choice, freely, not hard. This is what you're feeling. This is that 5D collective, and that's a whole self who is securely attached. You know how to regulate your nervous system and how to speak with that lovely functional adult, inner child adult, and have fun. So, we get to be playful when we are our authentic selves because we're not wearing a mask. What we do is speak our truth with intimacy. And in fact, divine feminines, they don't have that same thing with the karma. We got the dharma, and we get to own our destiny because you own your mind, your heart, and your body in alignment. So the person who's their prefrontal cortex, integrated brain, restorative embodiment self. All people, self-aware, accountable, regulating, can get here. The ones who have trauma, they get to first go heal, they get earn secure attachment, and then if they're ready and want to, they come and do more stuff. Okay, and oh, it's food for thought, the channeled guidance, and it's not set in stone anywhere. So just remember that people who talk, they're just people. I'm just people. Okay, so you decide for yourself what you want to conceptualize. Nobody's going to make you believe in something or not. And this course is sharing. So if you want to learn about subject matters, that's where college is important, other than high school. I'm not joking. So good college. Then you can add, like I do, with the educational certificates. But you go to bachelor's degree, master's, you get your PhD. If you want, you become a researcher. That is where you get lectures. The ones who are doing this, we are a bonus. The foundation of anything is going to be that. And no matter how many people want to try and make people ignorant, please remember, you will be ignorant of a lot if you do not take educational material and autobiography, like all of that bibliography. We have individuals who need to understand what discernment means, not with conspiracy theories, but with the actual organized individual who said, okay, here's quantitative, here's qualitative. We're not going to eliminate Darwin just because creationism is some. We're going to say, here's Darwin, here's creationism. We get all of it to come together. That's what adult brains intelligence does. They don't want to have ignorant children who are fear mongered and then that wool being pulled over their eyes. So they're going to want them to understand all, and belief systems is subjective. That's exactly how an empowered human being works with their mouth. So whenever someone is talking about Lucifer, evil demons, and they're pointing a finger at me, I don't take offense. I know I got a facade, one. Then I got fancy people that I get to watch. And three, if I meet them in the street, I always hope and pray that nobody ever gets aggressive to the point of where I need to be worried about my physical safety. So we want to show how it is done to be able to come together. And I know that people think we're not there, but we are. We have people who are here. Okay, so again, some of you are expanding to this more. Some of you are already comfortable. Some of you are not. But this is thanks to your daily mindful mindset and mindset practices. So you know how to take time out within and connect to your divine feminine. That's your body and your heart and your emotional plane. And then while you're interacting also with others, again, you own your own fate and that destiny, and you co-create with our lovely spirit. 1 second, I had the card. Here it is. So you can call it spirit, universe, source, God, the essence of love and life, all that is, all that will be, intelligence, universal love, transmission sessions. You know me as a Reiki master, so it's all consistent. Some of us will come back. Some of us will be here in the future for a long time. I'll be here. I don't know about you, but I know I will. Sadhguru won't. This is his last lifetime. I know why. And people who don't like to hear why, we leave it alone. So some of you are also expanding your clairs and you're noticing more about those around you. So your guides or resources or just stream of consciousness, depends how you want to call it, but you're channeling more and you are actually aware in a lot of good ways of who, what is connecting, what's coming through, and how to use it to expand your day-to-day, as well as if you're a person who supports others, how you're going to use that to support other people. Your relationships are growing with people who are high on the emotional, mental, and physical intelligence front, and the ones who want to build heart-to-heart connections. Your lovers are independent, conscious lovers who make ideal life partners, or one. And they are ideal because they have secure attachment, their whole self, an inner child adult, or they're working towards it. Obviously, let's remember that we have those who are working towards it, but they look forward to navigating every day mindfully and or spiritually and or both. Okay, so they're looking to get earned secure attachment if they're working on it, not act like a romance novel of here's the traits I will never get home to my whole self and my restorative embodiment self. They are with the objective, I will get there because it's my inner and outer well-being. I care about my inner and outer well-being and about being in the true spirituality journey, even if they're not, which is living a life of meaning and connection beyond the solo self, but also they like intellect. They like to use their brain and they like to laugh and have depth of emotion. So when you meet people, on the other hand, who refuse to take up that calling and to become their authentic version, so there are those who refuse authenticity, mindful and or spiritual living and loving, and they don't move out of dysregulated adaptive child patterns of behavior or maladaptive child patterns of behavior that stem from unresolved trauma and childhood wounds of shame, humiliation, betrayal, injustice, abandonment, and rejection. You have the opportunity to be the heart, mind, and voice that doesn't reject, project, close off, or react. You get the opportunity to be the restorative embodiment, enlightened, self-empowered person who it's called responding consciously. So really you're in your prefrontal cortex because you have no low self-esteem. So you will do this. You'll continue speaking your truth with intimacy. And what you really also learn how to do is recalibrate your nervous system as you're interacting. And that's called differentiation. So you learn to keep differentiating, like Dr. Daniel Siegel suggested to me when I explained to him how things affect me. And I didn't mention that I'm a mystic because I didn't need to. It was unnecessary and not really applicable to a sciences class. So the people who, when I've heard them in my sciences class, talk about, I'm an intuitive, I do this, I channel that, and they're sharing woo-woo stuff and they get interrupted by the instructors and then they take it personally, that's another facade. It's like a teenager who just got told, you're wasting our time. And we all can feel that way, right? But when you're grown up, you know how to recalibrate. No, it's not personal because at the end of the day, wait, I'm in a classroom. It wasn't the right moment. That's all. And as you empower yourself through not taking things personally, like a 16-year-old with a 3-year-old with a 1-year-old who wanted this, you just allow yourself to be mindfully aware, recalibrate. It's not emotionless. You're recalibrating and allowing your sense of self, the child parts of you, stay with you. Your 1-year-old attached but doesn't stay panicky. Your 3 to 7 shame but doesn't stay submissive. And the shame thing, it's a societal. So you know, oh, okay, I got embarrassed in the group. That's okay. I learned how to recalibrate from it. The freeze response, well, that one depends. It usually comes forth as panic attacks, but also if somebody's yelling at you. Okay, so that just you recalibrate and get out of it. It's okay. Shake it off. Flight, that would be running away, and that really is more like stop bugging me. So I've had that stuff happen. And fight is I'm gonna get charged. Okay, so those are the 5 charge states. They're really fun to play with. I still have all of them. I'm getting better at working at that. I can try and hear myself. I'm a mindful listener of you and I. That's what it means to put it into practice daily. So your body, when you're interacting with the individuals who are modulated or adaptive, okay, the facades, you are the body that maintains self-regulation and doesn't move into dysregulation. You are the mind that doesn't judge, insult, belittle, react, or think it's personal or assume you know everything. You don't do the facade shit. Like my friend, I love my friend, but the facade shit, the only reason I continue with the let me tell you to be yourself is because by the 3rd time, I'm like, okay, you don't know how to do this. And then I got educated in time as well. So people, again, who don't take their 8-year-old and 16-year-old and go and sit down and heal those rejection, abandonment, humiliation, again, injustice, the childhood wounds, because sometimes it's not a big trauma in the sense of a disorganized attachment or a non-secure attachment categories. Sometimes it's simply put, something took place, you have a story that your family told you, and you keep rolling with it. Okay, so we, though, are the minds that won't judge, won't belittle again. And then you are the heart that doesn't get broken or close off, but that instead stays open, loving, accepting, and respectful, with differentiation of the self in awareness. So your name, they're their own name, and you allow my thoughts, emotions not matching theirs, but it's okay, we can have an exchange. And in fact, you are the voice that doesn't yell, insult, or silence back, but that offers the opportunity to expand the conversation if they want, or to leave it with, let's agree to disagree, or accept our differences. Okay, so you know how to bring in that 5D collective harmony. It's called Christ consciousness for a reason, and it's the restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, regulating, mindful, and or spiritual living and loving person. So welcome aboard to all of those of you who are enjoying what you're hearing, and you can come back for more. The 5D self-empowered enlightened mystic here loves to live and love mindfully and spirituality. Jesus is my guide, has always been as God. I am not welcomed by all, but I welcome the Holy Spirit. That's why I know about my other light body experiences, and then the rainbow, and then all this other beautiful stuff. So you can stand in love, acceptance, respect, forgiveness, and compassion, because that's your full-fledged, optimized human being version. What I am here sharing with you all is something I learned all about in these years, and I'm going to keep learning, but my point is you can access this. It's not a special gift. It's a choice to love from here. You say, it's okay. It's a choice to love from here. It's okay. It's a choice to regulate. It's not technical without emotion. It's only technical without emotion with the people who think they're doing it, but they're not doing it. They need a therapist to do it, and then they need to wait until they feel it. Once they feel expanding, I want to hug people all the time, not just sometimes. So you stand as a flawed, imperfect, self-empowered, enlightened mystic or person with integrity, and your social engagement system online with a functional adult communication style and love language. And that is what a person here can tell you. There's a difference. I love to love because it supports us to fly. It supports us to always be lifted up even when we're down, and it's always there, which is why polyamory doesn't change in the sense of the love. What changes, again, is the relationship that you build. You're only going to deepen a relationship when you're a consistent communicator in each other's lives, but you're also consistently doing heart to heart connections. And then you're also consistently expanding with the same vibe, but not because others are not good. No, it's because we each have that frequency. So, the 5D frequency, if it calls to you, we'll be back with more. Something, I don't remember what other topics I have on the list, but this one, again, channel guidance, food for thought. Thank you for stopping by. And like, share, and subscribe. And if you know somebody who resonates with mindful and spiritual living, and or one and the both, and want to do mindful practices and mindsight and mindset, send them on over. Thanks again.